Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Season 1 finale of The Hot Take. Today I'm with Damish from New York City, and we've got Coronation coming up, so yeah, how are you feeling about Coronation, Damish?
Good,
Jump right into it.
Yeah, Coronation specifically is looking really good. Your team's looking super strong. Our team has been improving steadily over the past few... it's been like a month or two, right?
Yeah.
I'm feeling really good. I have some super strong players, and I'm feeling pretty confident.
Yeah, I mean, I was really excited to play against Up and Coming the first time.
Mm-hmm.
You guys really showed us like a really strong force to reckon with.
Yeah, man.
Which is tough to get in the off season.
Yeah.
As Charles has dubbed it.
It helps that we're all tryhards. Everyone in New York, not just my team.
Right, of course. So let's let people know a bit more about you. People probably know you're from like Miami, but they probably don't know the whole story.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
So I was born in Pakistan. And I moved to Miami, Florida when I was around 5 years old, something like that. My little brother was born here, I was not. I lived in Miami when I was growing up, and then I went to college in Baltimore. I went to Johns Hopkins University, and then I moved to New York like right after that. So
cool. And what do you do now?
That's a wild ride. So now I work at Amazon as a software developer.
You know, and let's just jump right into it.
Sure.
You're working at Amazon, and they're based not here.
They are based in Seattle, correct.
Is there any chance that you're moving closer to headquarters?
Wow, what a poignant question that no one expected and no one knew about until this moment. Yes! So, for those of you who don't know, many of you do know, I am moving to Portland, Oregon, to be with my wonderful girlfriend, Miranda, who's from the Portland scene there. And I'm super excited. That's going to be like around the end of this month, so it's way sooner than I thought it was going to be. But yeah. Really, really great. Really excited about it.
Well, we'll get back to this later on, but I know
sure
New York is going to
miss you about that.
Well, they know now. They can tune out now if they're done with it.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit about your history in gaming. So what else did you play coming up, and what do you still play nowadays?
Sure. Yeah. I guess growing up, I played a lot of video games, but nothing like, I don't know, brand namey. Like, I'd play Melee growing up on GameCube and other like, PlayStation, Sonic the Hedgehog, things like that. Like more directly before KQ, as I was starting to get into like more competitive gaming, I played a lot of StarCraft 2, which was great. I play a lot of Overwatch now, and of course Killer Queen as my all-time favorite game.
Yeah.
And I just love RPGs in general, so I play a ton of RPGs and JRPGs.
Yeah. So outside of gaming, how do you occupy your time?
That's a good question. There's like not that much I do outside of Killer Queen. In fact, it's almost like I do nothing but play Killer Queen sometimes.
I know the feel.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess gaming sort of permeates my entire life. It's like between video games and board games and tabletop games, I always have some gaming related thing going on. I like to go to the gym.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know you like to pump iron a little bit. Put out the gun show. So I also know that you're into music, and it's a big part of your kind of tournament rituals and stuff. And Blake Compton is actually asking, can you give us like a day in the life of Damish at a tournament, which I know has a lot of music in it.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting to me in Killer Queen that like people have these different tournament rituals. Like I know Moose, who you may interview, so maybe I shouldn't give this away, but he makes sure he eats salmon in the mornings. Like he's a very specific ritual. For me, it's a little bit more general, just like, light breakfast. I don't want to be hungry, but I don't want to be so full that like nervous energy upsets your stomach. And I obviously don't drink at all when I'm in tournament mode. And a lot of it is about focus, like just reiterating the lessons that you've learned with your team over the past weeks, months, days, whatever it is. Because it's really easy to forget everything you've talked about in like the heat of the moment. But yeah, staying focused is really good. Staying positive is really important. And that's usually why I listen to music, just to like, drown out noise and other thoughts and other games. It's actually kind of hard for me to watch other people play on tournament day too.
Yeah.
Because I think it's probably a byproduct of how I learned to play Killer Queen, where when I was first learning, I was watching, BK, Andrew Doherty, like these great queens play Killer Queen. I was trying to steal what I could from them. And I think to this day, like watching people on tape influences my play style subconsciously. So it's like part of it is using the music to like drown out all the other strategy and stuff so I can really focus in on what we've been training for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there any particular kinds of music you listen to?
Well, you know how like in every anime there's like a great hype moment where the main character does something really cool?
Yeah.
I listen to the music that comes on right when that moment happens.
So you're just living out your anime fantasies in the Killer Queen world?
Yeah, I will say I have had some fantasies about getting a bunch of kills in Killer Queen and winning a game for my team. But who hasn't, right?
Like,
who doesn't sexually fantasize about Killer Queen?
What about sexually?
Anime music.
But, I guess we can take it there.
Is this a PG stream?
You put anime and sexual things together, and it quickly diverges into something Lisa from Columbus might know a lot about. So let's move on to
of course.
Let's move on to some more audience questions.
Okay.
This one we might get a hot take out of you for this one.
Oh god.
Cody or Dre?
Oh god.
You played against both in the grand finals at Mole Bash 1 and 2.
Sure. Okay. When you say Cody or Dre, what do you mean? Do you mean like which one is a better person? Which one is the best?
Just pick one, man. Those are your options. A or B.
Yikes. They're both so good at what they do, and honestly, they're both such cool people. They're both like beloved by everyone nationally. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a single KQ player that I know of who's been playing more than a few months who doesn't know who like Andre Kwan or Cody is. I couldn't pick. I mean, if one of them could consistently beat the other, it would make me feel better. But first nationals, Cody took that, and the next nationals, Dre took it. So like. I couldn't say. They're both really great. You're both great. I love you both. I'm excited to hang out with you a lot more now, Cody.
Yeah, you'll have plenty of time to play with them.
I'm really excited.
Follow-up question.
Okay.
Woody is asking, now that you're moving to Portland, do you think you're going to keep up on the KQ? Are you going to give Cody, that extra bit of competition that only Damish can bring?
Ooh. That's a good question. I mean, there are a ton of great queens in Portland. So if I didn't want a queen or if I didn't want to play as much, I mean, I obviously wouldn't be changing anything, right? There would be an amazing repertoire of queens out there. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I think with like a serious relationship, maybe some of these like more fun things take a little bit of a back burner where the priorities shift when you move. But that being said, I would love to keep playing. I think there's a lot that I can learn from the Portland scene, especially playing against Cody, of course. And I'm hoping that I can bring some level up to that scene as well. So I'm excited about all the possibilities there, and I'm excited to contribute, if you'll have me.
But it's not going to be your first priority out of the gate. I mean, I totally understand that. You've got the whole Pacific Northwest to explore.
That's totally fair. Yeah, I have a lot of salmon to eat.
Is there the second time salmon has come up? Are you like into salmon or something?
I'm really hungry. I have dinner plans after this, so it's just I've been thinking about fish a lot.
Yeah. Speaking of food,
yes.
Amar is asking, what is your favorite food in New York City, and why do you not go there and just drink Soylent instead?
Oh God, are we gonna bring up salmon for a third time in this interview?
I think it's about to happen.
So, oh God, it's so tough. Okay, my all-time favorite restaurant in New York right now is probably Sugarfish, which is a sushi restaurant, and they serve Nozawa-style sushi, which is different from the normal sushi where it's like warm and loosely packed. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And I don't eat it because it's super expensive, and Soylent is super cheap and healthy. So there's your answer, Amar. Take that.
Yeah. We have an anonymous question coming in.
Okay.
They're asking, why are you so handsome, and how do you deal with that? But they did clarify it was directed at both of us.
How are we so
we can
handsome?
Work together and answer this together.
Well, how does being handsome affect your life? Do you think people treat you better because of how attractive you are?
I don't know.
I think people treat you better.
This is news to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my mom and my grandma always said I was handsome, but like
mine didn't.
I figured that was Damish. I think you're handsome.
Thank you.
Moving on.
Yes.
I know I'm gonna like the answer to this one. What is your tapping technique?
Oh God.
And has New Build changed it?
Yeah. Okay. So twofold. Yes, my tapping technique is single tap. Not quite like that.
No, yeah, of course.
That's the gun technique. I usually just maybe I can show the camera. I stabilize my hands like this and then tap with my middle finger like that. And I just vibrate my arm. I've always found the single tap to be way better at giving you control. A lot of people are amazing at double tapping and my muscles just don't do it. So I've practiced it. I've tried it. It's never worked out. So I stick to the single tap. As with New Build, the New Build gives you I guess the ability to tap a lot slower when you're at the ceiling.
Yeah.
And I am having such a hard time breaking free of the habit of tapping super fast, because when I started playing the game, if you tap too slow, you would just get wrecked on a 50-50. There was no real concept of a 50-50. It was if both queens are not tapping fast enough, one of them is going to die.
Right.
And so I trained that muscle super hard to tap super fast, super all the time. I don't think it's changed at all. I also don't think it's changed because it feels like warriors can now bump queens a lot more frequently, so your tap has to be extra on point.
Yeah.
The build giveth and the build taketh away.
The build taketh away. So, coming from Columbus, Adam Schweikert is asking, What do you think makes you more successful as a queen? Execution or the ability to communicate with the team?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, those are both so important, right? Like, if you can't execute, it doesn't really matter if you're communicating well because you're just going to die. And if you can't communicate... Actually, that's not really fair. If you can't communicate, maybe you can get that filled in for you. I guess that would be the one thing. Like, queen execution is obviously the most important skill a queen can have. Yeah. Because it's so easy to lose the game for your team, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But just a fact of the position. So I would say execution is the thing you should have down. It's also the easiest thing to train, right? I would recommend just like training technique all the time if you can. You're doing it every game, but if you can set aside a few games and say, hey, no one played the real game, we're just going to practice J-dives for 10 minutes, right? Like, I think that will take you super far. That being said, if you don't have the communication and the execution, it's hard to win tournaments. So, yeah, they're both super important.
Yeah. All right. Let's roll it back and get back into your history of Killer Queen.
Okay.
You started Killer Queen before I did.
Yeah.
But I've heard that when you started, you weren't as good. Hopefully I'm not digging up old wounds.
No. No one was that good back in the day.
But I think it'll help make you more relatable.
Sure, yeah.
To explain all the things you lost back in the day.
Yeah, of course. Let's talk about that. So, I guess when I started, I was like, I don't know. I didn't know how to play the game. I didn't know how to tap very fast. I didn't really know what good queening looked like. I was lucky that I could like learn from the mistakes of like my superiors at the time, right? I would say BK had a huge influence in like teaching me how to play the game, and I don't know, BK was the person I learned how to punish from, really, because he would do it so often to me. He would just kill me every single time on every single move that I did, and I would be like, alright, I guess I can't do that anymore, and slowly improve from there. But yeah, obviously there were a lot of losses. They stopped. I would say at first they didn't really matter that much because there was no expectation. But KQ has a way of infecting you into, it's like winning feels so good.
Yeah.
And I find that for really good players, like losing feels so bad. You never want to experience it. And even if you're not that good at first and you can't really expect yourself to win every tournament, it still feels bad when you lose, right?
Yeah.
Like I remember I think it was KQ 15. Which wasn't even that long ago.
Yeah, this isn't getting that far back.
Yeah, that was super close. But I like that pain of loss is still there. Like I lost really early. I don't remember. We took like 5th or something.
Really early.
Really early. I was playing with some great players, but we still lost, and I couldn't keep it together for the team. And I fucking walked out of Logan, and I just kept walking. I just walked, and I went to a park, and it was like it was out of a movie. Like it was raining, and I put on my headphones, I listened to sad music, and I just sat in the park. I was so upset. And I think
like Moonlight Sonata sad music, or like
it was like angsty, like
okay,
yeah, a little bit pop punky music.
Yeah, okay.
And it really let the emotions out.
Right, yeah.
But like elements of that were there even before I was good. Where like I would lose a game and I'd be like, damn, like why couldn't I do more? I mean, KQ10 was my first tournament, and actually the lesson I learned. So we lost super early. I think we won one game, and then we went up against the best New York team at the time, which I believe was still Meaningful Choices, BK's team.
Yeah, back then.
And then after we lost to them, we played against Drake Kwan's team. So that was my first ever tournament, really, right? And the one thing I will always regret, I was playing with Mustafa at the time, is I let my confidence disappear, and I was like, Moose, can you play the game against Dre as queen? And we swapped, and we lost super hard. And we probably would have lost even if I had played. But I still regret not
just doing it, just playing it,
because that experience like early on was super good. You level up every time you travel, and I feel bad that I let that opportunity slip away.
Who knows?
To play against the best queen at the time.
Maybe you would have gotten good if you had just played that one more series.
Maybe this will answer the Cody versus Dre question too.
I guess we could be like, well, which one impacted you more?
Ooh. Oh, easily Dre, I think. But mostly
because you're closer? Or?
Yeah, we're closer. I didn't even know, like, I didn't know of Cody until, like, GDC and then Bumble Bash.
Yeah.
But Dre, I'd known him from day one. He was immediately friendly, immediately offering advice, like, and he was amazing. He was an amazing queen. To watch him play, it was like, I mean, that was inspirational.
Yeah. No, absolutely. He still tells me, like, oh, back at Kickstarter, when he ruined the New York scene.
He really did. He destroyed them, as far as I know. I wasn't there. I started playing the week after the Kickstarter tournament.
back then.
But I did meet him. Actually, okay, so... Fuck, it wasn't the week... Ooh, sorry.
That's fine.
PG stream. It wasn't the next week. It was the next day. Because I remember the Chicago players, Meg, Kevin, Dre, were all there. And I won the Mixer tournament with Dre Kwan on my team.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Were you queening or was he?
I was queening. That was my first queen. So, how did I forget this? Yeah, Dre friggin' literally taught me how to queen. Thank you for that, Dre. I'll be forever in your debt. It was life-changing.
All right, so there it is. Dre over Cody.
Ask me in a year when I've been living in Portland.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm scared to see you two playing together all the time.
I honestly think we're gonna make each other better. Like, I think there's a lot of unexplored sexual tension there.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, no, I got you. Moving on to sexual tension.
Yes.
Teamwork.
Yes.
Was
that old team
right after KQ15.
It was.
I think.
It was. Yeah.
It's my understanding that you, Turbo, and Wyatt were the core initially of that, and then you picked up me and Carissa to fill out the rest of the team.
Maybe. I wouldn't say it's exactly that cut and dry. I would say I asked Turbo to play with me right away. And he had expressed some interest. And actually his team, Anaphylaxis, had done really well at KQ15. Mm-hmm. They had taken third, I think. Obviously Turbo was amazing, and I was really happy that he wanted to play with me as well.
Yeah.
I guess because he recognized that I was also good, which is cool. And I think more than recognizing that each other were good, we thought we would play really well together, which was really great.
Yeah.
And I believe we got you before we had locked down Wyatt.
Oh, yeah, because our team was Wyatt Please for multiple weeks.
So we knew we wanted you because I think at the time you were like pretty significantly the best KQ player at Google. And more importantly than that, it just felt like you were really good at learning things. You were improving super fast, and you took criticism really well. Like everything pointed in your direction, and you were one of the few remaining players. So
and also
we really had to get to the bottom of the barrel for these last few.
Sure.
But yeah, we picked you up, and then we locked down Wyatt after it was clear that he wasn't leaving the country.
Right.
Or no, actually, sorry, that was Bumble Bash 2 that he wasn't leaving the country.
Yes.
For Bumble Bash 1, he had a game thing. He was showing off his game, and he wasn't sure if he was going to make it to Bumble Bash, but we ended up getting him. And then Turbo, especially, was all about Carissa, getting her to play on our team. Like, he recognized how good of an objective runner she was. And again, those same elements of how fast she learns, how much she improves, and how easy it is to communicate with her, and how quickly she takes criticism. Yeah, like to the point where he was like pushing me to extend an invitation, even though the rest of the teams hadn't really been formed yet. And I was super on board with that.
Yeah. So it sounds like Turbo was really kind of the driving force then in recruiting the team itself.
Yeah. Well, it's he was. I mean, he was the first like player on this team, right?
Sure.
I would definitely attribute him as the person who put everything together.
Yeah. So. And I definitely don't mean this as a slight to you, but it was my impression that Turbo and Wyatt were really the strategic masterminds behind the whole thing.
For sure.
Do you want to break down like who brought what to the table there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like the more teams I play on, the more I recognize like how difficult and important both of their jobs were. Mm-hmm. It felt like so at a very high level, right? Wyatt was definitely the one who was bringing a lot of the higher level strategy. Like, we should be running snail, and in this situation we should be doing X, and in this situation we should be doing Y, unless Z is happening, right? Then we should do some other thing. Mm-hmm. And Turbo was very much like the technical mastermind, right? He would teach us like specific techniques. I mean, I think columns were the big one, right? I think Turbo literally changed the meta single-handedly by bringing columns into the forefront.
Yeah.
It's something that took me like a lot of time to learn properly, but once you see it, I don't know if everyone probably knows what a column is, right?
Pretty much.
It's essentially a long-term pincer, right? Like, if someone is pincered between two units, they should never be able to escape that pincer, no matter what platform they go to, no matter what raft they take. They can continue to be pincered until they're dead, theoretically. We're not machines, so it's not always perfect. But right, Turbo was the one who really leveled up the New York scene in so many ways, and I would say he doesn't play as much anymore, and I think the New York scene definitely lacks for that.
Yeah. No, I could see that. There's probably some stones unturned in the new build.
Yeah.
Waiting for Turbo to come back and show us the way.
Someday, man, someday. But like we were talking about earlier, he has slightly shifted priorities now with Ali.
Yeah, of course.
And we were very happy for them.
It's okay. Some of us are still lonely, and have nothing better to do but play video games.
That's okay. Anyway. KQ made us not lonely, so there's still hope.
Fingers crossed. No, so good.
Now we're thinking about our personal lives.
Give me a minute. Anyway, so after Momo Bash 1, I think nothing was really said, but I think everyone kind of understood that teamwork was done. Like, I feel like we all just kind of walked away for maybe our own reasons.
Yeah.
Did you have reasons to like leave twerk in the past after Bumble Bash 1?
So that's a good question. I don't know. I was never. I don't know. I would probably play with twerk again if we were all still available and willing to do it, right? And not moving to different states and.
Sure.
Yeah.
And not playing the game anymore.
Yeah, I think everyone was excited about what they had learned from twerk, and this is something that I think is true of the New York scene more than maybe some other scenes. Not to call out any names, but I think New York is really good at sharing tech, and I think we take a lot of pride in the fact that our roster is very deep, and a lot of our players are really good, and a lot of that comes from just sharing knowledge with each other and leveling up our fellow players, even if they're not on our team.
Right.
And I think. I don't know if this was true for you. It seemed like it was true for a lot of us, but it was exciting to be able to go to our separate, maybe newer players or new teams and teach them what we had learned on teamwork and try to bring up the general like skill level. The way New York sort of did for us when we were learning how to play the game.
Right.
Sort of giving back.
Yeah. I mean, I know I personally wanted to explore the role as a queen.
Yeah.
And to build a Google team to reckon with.
Yeah.
I know Turbo wanted to explore queening as well.
Yeah.
Wyatt just kind of jumped on Glove, and then he shared his knowledge with them.
I think that's Wyatt's preferred role, right? That tactician.
Yeah.
He's very good at it.
It's just like, oh yeah, I'll join your team.
And then the allure of Queen stole you and Turbo away.
Yeah, maybe that was just it.
Yeah.
We'll have to go ask Carissa. Oh, Carissa warriored. She started warrioring.
She did. More. I forced her.
She was on your team.
Yeah, she wouldn't. She didn't want to, and I was like, you have to. and then she did great.
Yeah, no, she did. And now she's back with them.
Which is still good. There is a very high skill ceiling for Snail. I do it sometimes, and I don't envy their job at all.
So I want to go on a tangent here.
Sure.
With the Snail. The Snail meta became very dominant with Teamwork's rise.
Yeah.
But as with the physics changes, and with now everyone deciding that speed is necessary to even bother getting wings.
Yeah. I don't agree, but I
how
understand.
are you feeling about the meta right now?
Sure.
The resurgence of berries and with the increase in speed.
Yeah. The berry thing I have some opinions on. I think, look, if I can address the warrior stuff first, I think this is like a natural progression from how long the scene has been around, and there are a lot of players that have been playing warrior for a long time, and everyone has gotten very, very good. And I think what you're seeing is a reflection of that. More people are getting comfortable playing speed because they know how valuable speed is, and they trust themselves to be effective. Because in the past, if you open up with double speed, or if your warriors are getting speed before they come back out, that could be game ending, right? Because that speed warrior is investing a lot of time and berries into their speed and then not being effective.
Right.
I think now there's so many good players and so many good speed warriors that people are finding that it's a valuable trade, it's a valuable investment. And that's probably why you're seeing that. And I really do like that. It makes the queen's job a little bit more boring. And I did watch Alyssa's hot take, and she brought up a similar point. You have to be a little bit more conservative, yes, but I also think it makes the game so much more fun and dynamic, like by and large.
Right.
Because I tend to not go back and cower if there's a ton of speed warriors. I want to fight them. I want to absolutely see if I can beat them.
You're just playing Killer Queen on hard mode now.
Yeah, exactly. It's just ramping up the difficulty, which honestly I absolutely love, and it makes me really happy to see people doing that and going for more like cool, interesting technical plays.
Yeah.
What was the other thing? Berries? Berries are stupid.
So you still think
No. I think okay. So here's my attitude about Killer Queen in general, right? I think if what you should be doing, and this is probably true of almost any like strategy-based game at all, right? Is you should be playing the game as though your opponent is almost perfect at it. You can exploit any mistakes you see, but you can't assume your opponents are going to make any mistakes. And it still feels to me, no matter how much you buff berries, as far as input time goes, or their kicks or whatever, a truly great team will not let you win on berries. They'll outnumber you with warriors, they'll tilt the scales in their favor, their ledge guard won't drop any berries. Okay. You know what I mean? And if you try to fight that by going berries faster with like a flood or something, they'll run a speed snail and they'll never let you get a warrior.
So then I wanna push back on this delicately. I'm not saying you're calling it a fluke, but whenever a team wins on berries...
No.
It's not...
Yeah, definitely not a fluke, but it's a reflection of, like, I guess, imperfection in the strategy, right? Mistakes are made that allow teams to recover.
Mm-hmm.
But you would agree with me that if all the warriors for a team go down, no matter what map it is, you should be able to lock them out for the rest of the game and win.
Potentially. I think queens are leveling up to the point where that is less of the case.
And especially on... So there's a couple of things about Dusk in particular that I don't love. And one of them is the speed bumps that exist on Dusk.
Yeah.
Made a lot of sense in the last build, where you could still kill people from behind, so they weren't perfectly safe. But now a warrior or a queen can just entrench themselves and never be moved.
Right.
And never be killed, which is kind of the idea behind a flood, right? Like, if your queen can stay alive, presumably forever, your berries will get in eventually. And if you take enough heat away from your berry runners, if you entrench yourself somewhere on the opposite side of the map, they'll probably get it.
Right.
As long as you're popping the snail occasionally, if that's what they're doing.
Right.
But yeah, so just a couple of things of the new build I think need to be looked at for sure. That being said, it's not that berries are bad. It's that it's the same reason after BB1 before BB1 that we stopped running berries ourselves was because, Richard, probably the best ledge guard I've ever seen in the world ever, just wouldn't let any berries through.
Yeah.
And Wyatt did the same for our team, right? So New York was like, we're trying to run berries, but they're just not going in fast enough because ledge guard's never dying. He's killing queens in the hive. He's destroying us, right? There's no reason to run berries. Maybe on Dusk that's a little different since it's not quite as easy to ledge guard. But on Night, I think that's still true. I think people have just forgotten how to ledge guard properly because we haven't been running berries as frequently, and not as many people are looking at that role anymore. Because let's face it kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's not a lot of fun.
Ledge guarding is like probably the least fun position next to queen.
We're gonna get a lot of pushback on that, but I'll let it stand because I don't know where to start.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of potential for really good ledge guards to make game-changing plays, right? But it's not that much fun to learn. It's a really hard position. You don't get that much credit for it. So I totally understand. And so the moment berries stop being in the meta, people absolutely jump at the chance to not practice ledge guard anymore.
Yeah.
So I think what you're seeing now is, yes, the berries got buffed, but also ledge guards aren't as practiced. And I think once they start getting emphasized more, we'll see berries go back to like a happy low area.
So then, and this is jumping into a question Tyler brought up.
Yes.
It sounds like you think ledge guarding is right now sort of an underrated skill.
Oh, yeah.
Or at least underappreciated.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think there's any other kind of blind spots where people are just like, oh, doing this is easy, or it's just really underrated or undervalued? Other skill sets.
That's a good one.
I mean, a lot of people might jump to, like, riding the snail, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
having, like, a Rob or a Carissa on your team is game-changing. I mean, I've played with less experienced snail riders or people who don't quite know what to do right away, and you can feel the impact. I mean, even when we were playing together on Twerk with Carissa, we're not perfect, right? The warriors make mistakes, people go down, and I love those moments where I realize, oh crap, my team is down. But oh, the snail's almost in. We have so much time now. This is great.
Yeah.
And good snail riders will be actively participating in the game, right? Like if you look at how Rob plays, he just never dies.
Mm-hmm.
If he's about to get killed, he jumps off and he waits and he bumps and he gets kills and he knows how to make himself valuable as a worker. And I think snail riding is very good and underrated. But I think the more important lesson there is that how do you be effective as a worker?
Right.
And that's super important for recovery, right? Like I've seen workers bump through the center on day to slow down enemy queens so that your queen gets an extra second to get a warrior up. And the same thing on night, right? If as a drone you can pressure with your bumps in the correct positions, it doesn't even matter if you're not a warrior, right? Like you've suddenly helped your team recover from the brink of a loss. And I think that comes out so much harder in Snail because you're a warrior, worker all the time.
Right.
The other skill, and this is not an individual skill, but I think knowing how to close out a game properly. I think people sort of lack that a little bit. Because like when you're close to winning a game, like, and it's so interesting that Killer Queen presents you with these situations where it gives you something that's like really close and you're like, I want this so bad, I have to do it now. When the correct answer is oftentimes to back off and let the enemy team go in there and make a mistake or get pulled down out of position and then fight. Like truly using the objective to your advantage rather than like thinking it's something you have to force in.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've faced that problem quite a bit. I know we felt those pains going into Bubble Bash too.
Oh yeah.
Bubble Bash 1 less so, but people didn't quite understand the pincer mechanics then.
Yeah.
But it was much harder once people stopped just sitting on their platforms thinking they were safe.
People got really good at that really fast, and it was really good to see.
Yeah. So Hell was asking about what you've attributed your tourney success to, and Woody specifically dives in on it and asks if you can compare your experience playing with a very practiced team, like Teamwork or Up and Coming,
right,
versus playing with these more pick-up-y teams. You played with a 5-scene team and won Coronation. You played with 2 Chicago players at KQ23 and won that one.
Yep.
How do you view the differences between those two?
Sure.
There's a lot.
There's a ton of differences between those two situations, right? And just to touch on this to begin, you can mitigate some of it by, New York has a very active streaming scene, so you can ask the players you'll be playing with, especially if they're from different scenes, to watch your play and comment on it and ask questions, so that you're not totally going in blind. You can sort of learn to preempt. And I did the same with all the Warriors I played with at Coronation, and then the Chicago players I played with at 23. So that's like a small point to begin with. The bigger points is that when you have a practice team, stuff doesn't catch you off guard, right? You're way more flexible in a sense because you've played with them enough to experience these weird wonky situations where like, the enemy team has 4 berries left, but my snail is kind of close. Like, what do I do in this situation? It's not a question in the game. It's something you can discuss and practice and then implement without, really quickly.
Yeah.
The other thing is obviously when you're with the practice team, everyone's plays are a little bit faster because you can preempt them. You're like, I know my queen usually after tagging center gate will do this thing, so I can practice that and catch people here more often. And I think the biggest difference is probably the communication style I use between those two. When I'm on a very practiced team, like Torque or Up and Coming or any of my other teams that I've played a lot with, the key communication that I use is information, right? The snail is close. They're coming out of right gate. Our ledge is down, right? And I trust that the team, having practiced as much as we have, will fill in those roles as they see fit. The right people will know it is their job to act in those situations based on that information. And it helps me not, screw up one of my players by commanding them. Whereas with a pickup team or a mixing team or whatever, I tend to give a lot more like direct direction, like, hey, Abs, kill this thing, or Skulls, cover for ledge, or you know what I mean?
Right.
I think you have to, like, it's stronger if the chain of command is more centralized on a pickup team.
Yeah.
It's also like, I've been pretty lucky that I've been playing with such great warriors, even on pickup teams, right?
Sure, yeah.
Like, the game is about to be lost and someone makes a crazy play and kills it. Like, you can't practice for that, right? It's just, there's this freedom that comes with playing on a pickup team that makes you, like, I don't know, able to make crazy high plays all the time. And
people pull out the clutch.
Yeah.
They just get in there and make magic happen.
It's really, really great.
Yeah. So, for the younger queens out there aspiring to become the best, Josh Bird is asking, what do you do? Okay. What are the steps you take to go from A to B, from new to great?
Oh God, there's like a billion things. Let's think about it. Okay, so important thing that we mentioned earlier is obviously your tech needs to be very clean. There's like the few really important queen skills. Like at the lowest level, like the smallest unit of technical skill would be obviously a J dive, learning how to stick from different heights, and then also the dive cancel or the soft stick as we call it in New York. Stabilize yourself really quickly, and that gets you a lot of kills and makes you play really safely. If you can J dive every platform, it's very unlikely that someone's just going to stick you at the edge and kill you, even though that does happen to me sometimes still. So like broadening that horizon but still staying within technical skills would be like, how do you defend a gate properly against pressure? And then how do you pincer with your teammates? And how do you learn to identify a good pincering situation with your teammates and communicate that well?
Yeah.
There are really great drills for both of those things, and I'm sure some people know about them already, but just practice that. Like, get an enemy player and say, here, we're going to start on either side of you, try to break free of our pincer. And then you and your ally will try to close out that pincer. And then gate, you need a few more players for that. But yeah, stand over a gate and have an enemy queen, an enemy warrior pressuring you, and try to get a warrior out. And then once you get that down and you're feeling comfortable with that, add another warrior, add a bumper. Like you can expand that infinitely.
Yeah.
Up to 5.
Infinitely. Or infinity is approximately equal to precisely 4 other teammates.
Yes. Correct.
So I think beyond the purely technical stuff, what do you think about positioning? Because I think
Sure.
there's still a lot of debate about where a queen should be,
Mm-hmm.
you know, at any given time on any
Mhm.
given map
Mhm.
for whatever combination of objectives.
Sure, yeah. Positioning is super important.
What do you think about when you're making those decisions?
So usually when I'm playing KQ, I'm thinking about what my next objective is going to be. As I'm making a play, or towards the end of a play that I'm actively trying to make, I'm thinking, what am I about to do next? And my goal is to take the fastest possible path to get there.
Mm-hmm.
What's really hard is warriors like Wyatt zoning you away from your objective because they're smart enough to identify what your objective is about to be.
Right, yeah.
But that being said, as long as I'm not under any pressure, it's like I would like to be in the closest position to my next objective.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's gate control, that means like good, clean flight paths. I tend to ignore most slow warriors because you can just dive underneath them and they'll, I don't know, they just can't catch you, right? You can always dive out of a play unless you're on the ground. Positioning is hard because it also depends on what you're doing, right? There's different stages in the game. So early game, my positioning is aggressively trying to hold more than half the map so my warriors can safely come out.
Mm-hmm.
Mid game is holding position, zoning out enemy players from my defensive players, right? If someone is defending the snail, I want to be there to catch a pincer. If someone goes down into the tunnel on day map to harass them.
Mm-hmm.
Or obviously gate positioning is really important. So hanging out above the gate or in a safe place to zone someone from getting into the gate.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be quite right above the gate. You can zone from outside that area. And then towards the end of the game is zoning away from whatever your winning objective is. Right. So positioning changes throughout the game, and depending on what objective you're running and what your the game state is with how many warriors you have. Yeah, it's not super easy answer.
Well, it's a hard game.
Yeah,
it's a challenging topic.
It is.
What do you think? I mean, you mentioned the moment in Chicago where you lost and you just kind of left the bar.
Yeah.
Was that your hardest moment in KQ, or were there other moments do you think are at least similar that were also very tough or just emotionally draining?
Yeah, let me think about that. I think that was probably the hardest one because I had the highest hopes and they were dashed the hardest at that particular tournament. But I think it was a good learning experience, right? It teaches you that like you can bounce back, right? There's no loss that's so hard that like you've never experienced anything like it before.
Right.
And I think in a lot of other tournaments when the stakes are a lot higher, it helps that I haven't like lost in many tournaments recently. But yeah, like so one other example of that would be when we lost to Portland's team, when we lost to Cody's team in BB1. That was a really hard loss, but it was more important at the time to keep it together and adapt and come back swinging than it was to like wallow in whatever emotions I was feeling at the time.
Yeah.
Especially since it was just very easy to believe in you guys. Like as a team, it was super easy for me to just trust that we were gonna come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all just made small adjustments to counter that stuff. On the flip side, what are the brightest moments, I think, that you had in KQ?
Outside of, like, obviously nothing will ever quite live up to the hype of Bumble Bash 1, where all of New York City bum rushed the stage.
Yeah.
I almost broke the glass outside of the bar because I was being pressed against it and I felt it buckling and I was like, no, go back.
I think we were all trying to like push back.
Yeah.
It was too many New Yorkers.
Yeah, so BB1 is like the clear, it's like the hypest moment I've ever had in my entire life. I watched that video for like months afterwards if I needed to pick me up.
Yeah.
But outside of like the big tournaments, winning with that 5-scene team was super, super fun. Because that was like the inverse of KQ15, right? Where I had super high expectations and like kind of a low result.
Mm-hmm.
Going into our pickup team, I knew all the players were great, but it was obviously a pickup team, right? No one's ever won a tournament with a pickup team before.
Right.
So my expectations were fairly low, and the result was super high, so it felt amazing.
You just came in 5-scene and just you tore shit up.
Yeah, man. It was super fun.
Yeah. So let's talk about your future.
Okay.
You've got the big move coming up.
I do.
You might be taking some time off. Are we going to at least see you at Bumble Bash 3?
You will see me at Bumble Bash 3 because I'll be living in Portland at the time, and it would be stupid of me not to see all my friends.
Yeah.
I will be playing with a team from Portland.
Okay.
I have a few players locked down already. One of them is my girlfriend, so that'll be really exciting.
1, 2, and you. Okay, so it's
yes.
2. Do you get the whole roster, or just
we have a couple, but maybe I won't say it right now. Mostly because it's a little bit complicated, right? Like knowing that we're going to be a pickup team of like my goal there is to get newer players and see how well we can do together and how much I can impart, as far as team play goes and good skill goes.
Yeah.
But that being said, knowing there's a sort of a pick-up-y team without a full roster yet, I don't want to hold anyone against their will if a better, more experienced Portland team like Alyssa or Dylan or anybody wants to pick up one of the players. I'm super happy to let them do that. So I don't want to put their names on blast so that they're committed yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just you and your girlfriend.
Yes.
She's already on blast.
Yes. You're committed. You can't leave.
Sorry. Now it's on the record. So it looks like you've got a lot to look forward to in Portland.
So much, yes.
What are you gonna be the most sad about letting go of leaving New York City?
New York City or New York City Killer Queen? Because those are both important.
Let's start with KQ, and if you want to talk more about salmon, we can go back for the fourth time.
I think KQ NYC is probably the biggest thing that I'm leaving New York or KQ wise for both. I don't know, the New York folks were my first friends out of college, and that's really important to me, and I'm never gonna forget that. KQ NYC is full of some of the most brilliant, talented, funny people I've ever met in my entire life, and it's gonna be really hard letting you guys go.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree. It's been a remarkable journey joining this community, even locally, and I still tell people New York is the best place to play Killer Queen.
It is.
With the private cabs, but much beyond that.
Yeah.
Just the people here.
I agree.
Really special.
Yeah. Really open, really smart, really good. And also in New York, I'm going to miss all the food that's going to be open really late. There's a lot of amazing food.
It's the worst part about traveling. Yeah. Is not being able to get food at 3 a.m.
I think downtown Portland, where I'm probably going to be living, is going to be okay about that. But 4 a.m. pizza is going to be hard to miss.
You got to find a dollar slice place in Portland, Oregon.
I don't know if it exists. I just don't know.
They'll probably have salmon on it or something.
The salmon interview, the hot take. The cold.
Just talk about salmon.
Yeah.
I mean, we could sit here and talk for forever, but I'm gonna cut you off and ask you.
No worries, man.
Words of wisdom. Public service announcement.
Okay.
Whatever you want to say.
Jeez, what do I want to say? I want to reiterate how much I'm gonna miss everyone from New York. I don't take the decision to move lightly. You guys are all amazing, and I'm gonna miss every single one of you. PSAs, make sure you stretch your wrists. No one wants carpal tunnel. Do the nice gamer stretches. Make sure you do that before you start tapping like a mad person. And be kind. Be kind to your fellow players. Remember that they're humans and help each other. Bring each other up and don't bring your scene down, and don't let your scene bring you down.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me, man.
Of course, this was great.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And thank you everybody for joining us. It's been a hell of a ride going through the first season of The Hot Take, and I hope to see you all soon. Tune into Coronation, May 19th.
Yeah, see you there.